to win non-consecutive terms. The first was Grover Cleveland in the late 1800s. Senator J.D. Vance will become the 50th vice president of the United States. Voters expressed deep frustration with the Biden administration, and former President Trump and the future President Trump overperformed in urban areas, particularly with men, proving that the strategy that they doubled and tripled down on over the course of the last few months absolutely succeeded and brought him back to the White House.
47th President of the United States, former President Trump now defeats Vice President Kamala Harris, who entered this race just over 100 days ago. And for Democrats, they were projecting the possibility of running the table with battleground states. David Plouffe with the Democratic campaign of the Harris campaign suggested that just yesterday. Now it is possible that Donald Trump runs the table with these states and builds on a big landslide electoral win. We don't know where the popular vote is going to finish out, but we do know that he will be going back to the White House, and with him, Brit Hume, will be a lot of changes because he will have been there once and will know what he wants to do.
You know, he often accounts for the fact that he had so much turnover in his first term, in his term as president, by the fact that he really know Washington, and he was new to this realm that he had come to win the presidency in, and he promises us that now he knows whom he wants to hire. Now he knows the kind of people he wants to have around him. A lot of people are saying that means a lot of very experienced people around Washington will be ruled out, and maybe they will. But it's going to be very interesting to see the kind of people he reaches out to and reaches out for in the days and weeks ahead as he builds his administration.
We're joined by Kayleigh McEnany, Trey Gowdy, and Katie Pavlich. Kayleigh, you've been a part of the last administration. You've seen you can see the joy on all these people's faces. Think about the angst and the, all that this campaign has been through. And now there is the prospect of creating what you want to create.
要选哪一个呢？晋级力士的节奏轻重分明，威猛力士的拍打力道层层。
Indictments, 2 assassination attempts, an unlikely come-from-behind victory, and history is made tonight. This is a huge moment, particularly because this is a tectonic shift of the Republican Party. If all of this exit polling is true, you now have black voters, Latino voters, young voters coming in a way that we haven't seen the party bring in a very long time, and that's due to former President, now soon to be current President Trump. And I just want to say this as we wait for him to come out. I remember having a conversation with Ivanka Trump in 2016 about his remarks. And before he went out to give those remarks, he had speech A and speech B. Speech A was a more boisterous Trumpian speech. Speech B was a speech full of unity. And he looked up, Ivanka said, saw the faces of crying Hillary voters. He ripped up the boisterous speech and said he wanted to heal the nation. And the first words he said were an appreciation for Hillary Clinton, for her service to our country. And then he said, now it is time for America to bind the wounds of division. And he said, we are a party of all races, creeds, and religions. That is more true tonight than it was 8 years ago. And I fully expect President Trump right now is maybe ripping up that more boisterous speech and preparing to unite the country.
It's an amazing message.
I hope Kayleigh's right. I hope you're right. And we're gonna get a chance to see here in a minute. Trey Gowdy said something on your show the other day about how one of the things that you hope also is they're a little more prepared this time. They've got a great transition team, and they're going to need it. And I hope that there are a lot of people who want to go in and be helpful.
Trey?
Yeah, I think his transition team has done a wonderful job vetting potential candidates. And to Kayleigh's point, I think a liberated Donald Trump, he's never going to be on the ballot again. This is his last term. I think, Harold, he will surprise his detractors. I think he will be not anything like what his detractors have described him as being now that he is liberated. If I'm wrong, you can hold me to that. I think he will. A liberated Donald Trump is going to shock his detractors.
He has said that the assassination attempts had an impact on him. We saw him in many ways return to the very rough and tumble style that we've seen in Donald Trump towards the end of this. But now he will take the stage tonight as the next president of the United States, and he will not be able to run again.
Yeah. And I think that is another liberating factor potentially for President Trump.
We'll never underestimate the power of unfinished business. This is a president who has caught lightning in a bottle twice, and the second time around, he now has a MAGA mandate. He'll have a Senate that he can use to push through his cabinet appointees, who can work with him on legislation, who could potentially replace a number of justices on the Supreme Court. He could build a wall. He could build a wall. He has a working group in Washington, D.C. We'll see what happens with the House, but he also has been working very hard on his transition, get the right people around him. He talks about the lessons he's learned about the first time in the White House. So this is a mandate tonight for him, and I think he should get a lot of credit for doing the work on the ground, going to these states to pull these Senate candidates across the line with him.
What do you think the analysis is going to be? There's going to be a lot of time to digest all of this. We'll focus now on what the incoming president is going to say. What do you think the analysis is going to be on the Democratic Party and what went wrong there?
Well, I think it's going to be agonizing. I think it's going to take a little while for consensus to form about what the party needs to do next, or what it did wrong this time. It'll be grudging at first. One can certainly imagine that if the party were smart and shrewd political voices were heeded, that there'd be some major changes in their agenda and their approach in this. And you think of the issue sets that they've tried to run on against this man that failed. We need to reconsider all of that. I think it'll take a while. Now, our colleague and friend Mark Halperin, who's been very astute this particular cycle, he thinks there's going to be blood in the streets and people are going to be hysterical. I hope not, but it could happen.
I am really looking forward to reading some of the stories, probably with a lot of anonymous sources amongst Democrats with the recriminations, and it's going to be fast and furious, and you will have people saying that Joe Biden should have dropped out the day after, not dropped out, but said he was not running for re-election on the day after that midterm in 2022, and either endorsed her or said, let there be a primary, and Dr. Jill Biden, there will be thoughts about her, and I wonder how chilly that White House is going to be for the next 90 days as they try to figure it out.
And let me just say that as Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris will certify the election results on January 6th.
中国就是政府不去保护这些所谓的市场阶层，不是叫你保护弱势哦，也不是叫你保护
organized, and it's a great education, I think, for people who have very high passions in this race. There are Democrats who were fervently for Joe Biden. He performed poorly during a debate, and the party switched to Kamala Harris, and there was genuine excitement, I think, built over a period of time. And some of that excitement was an aversion and almost a dislike and a disdain for Donald Trump. But I hope it's a moment that we can all grow from, because if we don't, not in a selfish, partisan way, Democrats will progress, and I don't think you can fly and soar as a great country unless you have both wings working together. And President Trump, tonight, I'm going to be interested in that tone, Kay. I was reminded of your words, reminded of what you said as you shared it. I remember that story, and I hope and pray for the country tonight that President Trump, who has every right to be joyful, every right to celebrate, will give a speech with that tone tonight that in many ways could help him do all the things that he campaigned on in this campaign.
What does this mean for the never-Trumpers? And the Lincoln Project people, and Bill Kristol, and people like that, who seem to abandon everything they ever previously believed in order to oppose Donald Trump.
看破这一点的是谁？是川普。对啊，他去看破你这个手法，因为他是杀人犯，看破你中国人在搞这种事啊。
Donald Trump won this on policy and personality.
为什么？
I don't want to be remiss here.
当
He
你还
is
没有
talking about
硬的
energy
做法之前，
independence,
你
manufacturing,
第一道关
an
卡就是
economy
先
where everybody is
海关先
working,
挡住了。
no new
这
foreign
个做法
wars,
是绝对
getting out of the
正确
entanglements we
的。
currently have,
那你当然
respecting
会
and
有其他
resourcing
硬的
law
做法，譬如
enforcement,
什么？
border patrol,
譬如
military. And by
这
the way,
个
friends, we don't get those
中国的车，
policies without
哦，
that
中国电动车，
personality. What
中
did
国
we
电动
hear
车，因为
during the
中国
Republican
电动
primaries?
车
I
现
want
在
Donald
输
Trump's
出到美
policies
国被
without his
挡住了嘛。
personalities. Good luck with that. You don't get this strength and this resolve and this toughness. You don't get those policies without that. But I want to say this. It's on this phone that Huma Abedin placed the call 2:30 a.m. on November 9th, 2016. And on the other line was Secretary Clinton to concede the race to Donald Trump on my phone. I handed it to him, and I said to Vice President-elect Mike Pence, make sure Hillary actually concedes. She did. And President Trump was gracious to them too. They came to the luncheon at the Capitol after the inauguration. The Obamas and the Clintons were there. I was there to see it myself. And then something just changed. The Washington Post said, let's impeach him at noon, 2 minutes after he's inaugurated.
墨西哥说墨西哥生产，这不是很好笑吗？对啊。
But I got to tell you, my friend, I think it starts with your party and not mine.
Fair enough.
They had this guy in a courtroom. He's not an indoor cat. I get it. They had him in the courtroom. They have him impeached. They have him. And whether people think that was justified or not, now is a good time to respect the will of the people. Forget about us, the will of the people.
I agree. I'm just saying be a gracious winner and let's move the country forward. I agree. And I know you will. That was my only point.
I heard a gracious winner today when I talked to him. I really did. He's known for a while. He's going to, I wrote a piece on FoxNews.com October 11th saying he's going to have a narrow landslide. I think he's felt that for a while, but he wanted to go and earn it.
And I even think the people around him have to be gracious too. I think he will. I know be gracious as
That's a
well.
different motion.
We can always hope.
Good luck comes from the top.
Once more, I just want to say how much money was spent on this election. $15.9 billion with a bill.
Wow.
If you spend $1,000 a day for 2,740 years, that would be $1 billion. It was 16 times that. What has been spent on every race, presidency, the whole deal. $16 billion. And here we are.
What is that, a check you can write to for every American?
About $50. So it's not $40.
Every presidential race has a medium. You know, you go back to television, cable. This was, in some ways, a podcast experience of a campaign. And those are free to go on podcasts. And you wonder how much of that money really needed to be spent when there's a lot of ways to reach people. But I think it's really interesting and something we'll be talking about a lot in terms of the reach of these endorsements from Rogan and Musk and the rest of them.
The final ads where they talked about making America great again, but then ending with the assassination attempt and that fist in the air, the iconic image, and the fight, fight, fight.
Absolutely.
Warrior president.
The toughest son of a gun we ever saw. And that was the last note you see in that ad. And I think, whatever you think of the guy, you got to admire that.
Yep.
I mean, the adversity he's faced, everything we've seen in other presidencies and other political figures who've gone through all kinds of trouble are pale in comparison to what he's been put through. Maybe it's time for his enemies to stop it.
Not only that, but the energy that he has is truly amazing. He's the Energizer Bunny. Let's check in with Aisha Housing, speaking of the Energizer Bunny, at Trump headquarters in West Palm. Aisha, this has been a big night all night long. I'm sure it's really getting fever pitch now.
A big night, Brett and Martha, a long campaign for the former president, for all of us, the press corps that have been following him around now for more than a year. The crowd went absolutely nuts when Fox News called it here, and people were hugging each other, they were high-fiving each other, that people were on FaceTiming. I think they just couldn't believe it that this happened tonight and they didn't have to wait days and days and days. We are now awaiting the former president to take the podium. He is here in the building, as is his running mate, now Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. They're backstage. We were told they were going to come out as soon as the election was called, and so now we're just waiting. We asked for a 2-minute warning. I don't know if we're going to get one, but hopefully we will see him soon. And so I just want to add a little bit of perspective, just as a Capitol Hill reporter that's been covering the former president for a while. When I came to Congress 3 years ago, talked privately with many powerful Republicans who did not want to see the former president back in Washington, and then to see the legal battles that he went through and Republicans having to stand up for him, and then he went through the primary process. As Kellyanne Conway just said, he earned it state by state by state. And then came back to Washington in the spring and went to the RNC and claimed the nomination. This is the greatest comeback that I've ever witnessed personally myself. And so I look forward to seeing what he says to the country here tonight and to his supporters. Back to you.
Asha, thank you. The Harris team is now texting to say Vice President Harris will speak tomorrow, and that will be her response to the election results. That's all we have from the Harris team, which is really strange. I mean, from a PR perspective, Dan.
No, I also just think it's a shame because I remember when John Kerry did this to George W. Bush in 2004, and you worked so hard, and I know that they're disappointed, but you should concede and let your opponent have their election night, and let everybody that's there at Trump.
那你说美国说普京不打仗，普京就不打仗。中国叫普京不打仗都不打仗了，联合国叫普京不打仗都不打仗了，怎么可能是？
Yes, we know we won, but we have to wait until John Kerry concedes, and then we all had to traipse back in the next morning and wait, and you don't get that moment. I don't think it's right. And
that's not to say there's not going to be a phone call. There could be a phone call tonight, but she's not going to speak publicly.
If there's a phone call, they have to make it public.
川普说了算吗？
Nobody
当然
wants
不
to
是
hear
啊，
from
为什
her.
么？打仗
So
是北
if I
约
were
跟
her, I
俄
would do
国在
it
打，
tonight. I
用
mean,
美
that
国
whole
武器
set up the Senate panel.
但是
yes, all of her people
泽
were
连斯基有
already
说啊，
Everybody was there.
联
and
合
it
国也有
does
说
feel
啊
like you want to，
北
just
约也有说啊，
collect the moment
就是
and
俄
do it the way
国
the
退
They
出
were holding out
东乌
hope.
克
They were
兰，
holding out hope that the blue wall could somehow come together, but it's going to be a red wall.
90 minutes before
回到
that, they
乌克兰
were told to go to bed.
Yeah.
这样很难吗？
got that text.
对不对？
90 minutes before
Now,
all of this, Jen
台湾
O'Malley
最好
Dillon,
笑
the
了，
Harris campaign
日
person,
本
said
建
everyone
日
can
本
go
有
to
美
bed and
军，
come back tomorrow.
韩国有美军，
So
菲律宾
She
也有
didn't
美
even
军，
address her own supporters. We
就
went
台湾
about
没有美
President
军，
Trump. She didn't
台湾
talk
就
to
有
the
一堆
people who
亲
were
中的
assembled
中国
there
狗
for
啊，
hours for
对呀，
her.
那
It
为
just
什么
seems very
台
ungracious.
湾不能
By
有
the
美
way, it
军
ended
呢？
up being a very bad
川普
split
提出
screen.
的
You probably
100
couldn't see it
亿，
in here, but
那你
they're
知道台
filing
湾
out,
一年
and he's
花
expanding
掉
his
多少
votes, and
亿
they're
的
all
美
excited
金
for
在
him.
买军备？
Look, I think that Kamala Harris was a
那
sign of
跟
the
川普
times.
提出的保护费
But I think that
其实
Trump's
是
a
差
metaphor
不
for
多
the
的啊，
country. And when he
但是
says
更
we
少，
don't
对不
surrender,
对？更少
fight,
哎，
fight,
其
fight,
实
we
更
get
少，
back
更
up.
省
I
钱
just
啊。
think
其
he's,
实
I think that's it. The other
一
thing I
般
just
来
want to say,
说啦
maybe it's as a
一般来
Catholic,
说
maybe
啦
it's just as a Trump supporter, maybe
你
it's
美
just as a
军
human, a
驻
flawed
扎的
human
地
being.
方啊，美
We
军
all
驻扎
get
的地
second
方，当然
chances
就
in this
是
life.
要土地嘛，
Rarely
要
do we
电
get
要
a
水，
second chance as big
啊，
as
这
this
些
one.
也许有补
And
助嘛，
I have
对不
got
对？
to
国家
believe the
补助。
man that I know
再来就是
and
一
that
个管
Kaylee
销的
Webb
支
is
出嘛，
going
管
to
销它会
work with
列
a
出给
certain
你嘛，
alacrity and
它
energy
会
to
列出来
get
给
things
你
done
啊，它
very
会跟你
quickly.
说我一年大
What
概
he
要
can
多
do
少
through
钱。
executive order, what he
对，
could do with the
那视
Congress,
情况有
bringing
没有
in
打
the
仗再
governors.
说啊。
Nobody
因为
gets a second
实
chance
际上在
this
打
big
仗
in
的
their
时候，他还
lives
另外再
and
跟你
just
谈。
puts it on the shelf like it's a
不过他不会
trophy
让你
or
打
a
输
gold
嘛。
star.
好，
He's
来帮
going
你
to
支
use
援。
that as a platform
那
for good and undo some of
美
these
国支
bad
援是不是一定
policies.
打？也不一定
And I
哦。
think do
那
even
美
better.
国打越
I mean,
战
these、
打韩
celebrities,
战、
these
打
athletes,
阿富汗
he's
战
got
争、
job creators and innovators.
打
He's
这
got
个
Elon
所谓
Musk and
的
Dana. He's got people who make stuff.
伊拉克
Who
战
people
争，
say, wow, there's an
其实
American
都是投
success
入
story, and he's
许
going to
多
bring
的
them
金钱
aboard.
的。
So
那
Vice
如果说
President
你今
Harris
天
has
花
now
个
encountered what is known
每
as the
年的
Van
保护费
Buren
来以
curse.
美军的
It's
资
the
源进来
failure of
保
the
护
Vice
你。
President to get to the
那
presidency.
怎么不
Only
合算？
two
等于买保
have
险啊，
done
当然
it,
合
and
算
that
啊
is。Martin Van Buren in
对你美军不可能
1836
说打
and
了，
George H.W.
对，打
Bush
了
in
他就一定会认
1988.
输吗？那也不一定。你以为阿富汗跟美军打了，美军退了，对，美军实际上到最后退了嘛，因为美国的政策嘛，不想继续打。
Kaylee, it's a multiracial party to your point. It's working class. And maybe it's the future. I mean, it's
你懂我意
Elon
思吗？
Musk. It
越
is
战之所
Joe
以美军
Rogan
到
and
最后会退，
podcast.
不
It
是因为
is,
美军打
you
输
know,
了，
there's an opportunity
是因
here
为
on
越
both
南人
parties
跟
to
越
realign
南的那
and
些所谓的
change.
亲
There
北
are going to be
北
a
约人
lot
士
of
太多了
conversations
啦。
that go
也就
on
是说，
to
其
that
实
end.
打仗打
Who
到
is
最
the
后，
next standard bearer
你
for
如果
President? Is
国
it
内的
J.D.
人
Vance? Is
你
he the
你
one
并
who
不
picks up the
支持
torch
美
after
军帮你
a
打仗的
4-year
话，
legacy
那就会
defining
影响到
term
美
with
军
the
的
success that Kellyanne's describing? Is it J.D. Vance that picks it up?
然后
There's
再
going
来
to
就
be a
是
conversation about
阿
ground
富汗
game.
也
I
是这
mean,
样。
Kamala
伊拉
Harris
克
over
也
the
是这
weekend,
样
they were
啊。
saying they were
一
knocking
开始美军
1,000
帮你
doors
打
a
进去
minute,
了
and I have no
然
reason
后
to doubt
胡
that.
子
It
西
was
部
an
政府起来
extraordinary
了，
ground
然后
game,
你
but
又反
do
对美
ground
军，你
games
就
matter as much as
所
podcasts,
以这个都
as
是一
much
样
as
的啦。
real
就
authentic
像
viral
冲绳
moments
的
like
冲
President
绳
Trump
人，
on the
他也在
garbage
反
truck
对
or,
美军
you
驻
know,
冲绳
President Trump at
可是现在
McDonald's,
反
these
不反对？
viral
现在没有在
moments
反
that
对了
really
啊。
captured the
对不
attention
对？
of the nation.
因为
And what does the
因为
Republican
中
Party
国
look
想要
like
打
going
打
forward?
过
It's a
来，
broad coalition.
又团
It's
结
an
了。
exciting coalition, and I think if President
中
Trump
国人的脑袋就是
manifests that
太
working
太简
man
单了，他
agenda,
们不了
no
解
tax
说
on
这个仗要怎
tips,
么打。
no, you know, limit on credit card interest rate. That's a working man's economic agenda. And if he makes that happen in 4 years, this party may look like this for quite some time.
I'm struck when you're talking about the authenticity part of this, because when I think about him with the French fries at McDonald's and standing up with blood on his face, fight, fight, fight. You can't fabricate. No, consultant can create those moments, Trey. Those are organic. And they are authentic, and I think that is something that Kamala Harris fell really far short on in terms of the authenticity measure.
Yeah, if you had told me that a billionaire from New York would be able to connect with middle America, I would have questioned that. To my friend, the gentleman from Tennessee, autopsies are painful, especially when the patient's still alive. I wonder what the Democrat Party is going to go through in the next weeks and months, because this was a loss that I don't think anyone saw coming, not to this magnitude. So what does the autopsy look like if you're a Democrat? It's painful, but you have to have one. How did you lose, and how did you lose the South?
The easiest way to do it for them would be simply say, if Joe Biden hadn't clung to the job, clung to the nomination,
然后你要说我怎么样好战什么？你看人家以色列、跟伊朗、跟哈马斯，对不对？跟真主党，人家就是打看看，对不对？真主党，我就400发火箭飞弹射进去以色列，我伊朗就是500发飞弹射进去以色列，人家就是打看看嘛。战争不是在那边喊话，战争是要打看看，好。
nominee who would have been freer.
So I think we'll do.
你连打都不敢打啊，在那边一天到晚喊说我赢了，我赢了。哦，这说真的啦，中国真的是太闹了。
There were those on this panel who didn't believe that this resurrection could have occurred. So if this can happen,
中国我是觉得
things
啦
are，
你
possible
就
in
派个
politics if you're
1
willing
万
to
人、2
willing to
万
change
人，
and willing to have
然后
courage
去
and determination. And
帮
whatever
俄罗斯
Democrats or
打
anybody
仗，
want to say
你就
about
知
this
道
guy
中国的
who's
兵
been
能不
elected
能
our
打。
president,
那你说
he
那
personifies
个
that
中国
courage
怎
and
么样爱好和
determination
平
and
嘛？不要
persistence.
屁了啦！
So I
看
think
人家北韩都派兵
Trey,
了，
you're
对
asking
不
a
对？
serious question.
北
Good
韩
game,
好
very
歹他妈
serious.
都
I
派
think
8
that's
万
going to
人
be
去，
part of the answer. And
那
we've
你
got to
中
look
国
long and
8
hard
万人都
about
不敢派，
whether or
这
not
太
the
好
way
笑
we
了。
campaign sometimes with identity politics at the end
然
is
后
that the
中国
right
人不
way
要
to
那边
do it.
讨
But
论
before you get
讨
there, you
论
got to get a
选举
purpose
啦，
and a
你中国
message.
连选举的
And
机会都
we'll
没
get
有
there.
了。
And we got a
中国
long
也是
history
全
of
过程
figuring
民
these
主
things
的，
out as a
中
nation,
国
as a
是有
party.
选举的
And we'll
哦。
figure it out this time.
中国的
So the
这
carnage
个主席
speech
啊，就是这
got a
个
lot
人
of
民大会
attention
的
at the
代表
inauguration.
那个
Do
领导
we
啊，
think that
习近平啊是
Oh yeah.
100%的选票选出来，
we're actually
然后
we're
100%
actually
的选票这些
told that the
2000
teleprompters have been removed
2000
from
怎
the
样
stage, so we could be in
2000
for a
多张
long
选
haul
票
here. I
，2549
don't know.
2549，反正
But
2000多张选票都是
But
人
there
民
may
代表
not be，
人民票怎么选出来的？人民代表就是中国人去每个省依照人口比例去投出
Right.
自
So
己的
Dana,
代
what
表。
does this speech look
也
like?
就是说，其实中国是有选举的啊。那你会说，中国没有选举？当然啦，因为你没有参
I
与。
don't know. He's one of the most unpredictable
中国
people
是有
too.
选举
So
有
I
民
think
主
that's why we're all
但
here,
是
and I'm wide awake, and I've been awake
你
for
中国
almost
人
24 hours now.
没有参与的
And
机会啊。
I am curious to see. I think
有趣吧？
I
那非常
wasn't
有趣
just thinking。
中
about
国
this
宪法
speech.
当
I'm
中
thinking
哦
about
是有
the
选举的，
inauguration speech,
哦
which would be 8 years.
有选
since
举，有
carnage,
集会结社的
carnage
自由
speech.
哈，有
He
抗
has
议的
a
自由
wide range
但
of the
是
types of speeches that
中
he
国
can
人
give.
不能
If you think even
啊，
about
中国人不
even
能
within
参
a
与。
speech, there's range. If you think about the RNC convention, it started off with like, oh wow, yeah,
这次
yeah,
你可以
yeah,
特
and
别
then
注
after a
意
while,
看
like, wow, he's still talking. It was like so long,
美
and then
国
kind of got off script, and people
所有
thought,
民
oh, he
主
kind
党
of
胜
lost
出的地点，
opportunity. But he didn't. I think
通通
if you
都
look at these
是
people
中
who
国人
would
聚集的地
take
方啦
off
哈。
work, drive somewhere in the middle of the night to
都
go
是
and
这些
get
中
in
国人
line
跟中国
to
有
wait
钱
for
人喜欢移
hours
民的地方
to
啊
then。stay
你
at
看
a
东北
rally
角
for、hours.
纽
And
约
part of the
州
things he has
缅
done
因
as
州
well
这边、
is
华盛顿
created
这边、特
this
区这边，
camaraderie amongst
哦，这边
people
都是
so that you
中国
can
有
go
钱人
to
跟
a
中国人
place
最
where you're
爱
not
最爱
afraid to
住的
wear
地
your
方哈
red。MAGA
而
hat
且
and you can
纽约
say,
那边附近还有一个法拉盛。
oh, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not the,
然
I'm
后再来
not
就
the only one who
是
thinks
早
the way
期
that I
的
do. I
华
can
人最
actually
爱
have
住的
friends,
地
and
方，就
that
是
doesn't
这
mean
个
that there
五大
shouldn't
湖
be
区。
outreach to the
哦，
other
五大
side.
湖
I
区
believe
那
in
一中
love
那
thy
边也
neighbor.
是
I
很
love
多
all
中
of
国人
that. But
哦。
he has created something
China
special here. So I kind of want him to take a
然后再来
victory
最近
lap
就是
tonight. I don't
凤
think
凰
this
城
is
这边
necessarily a
这
moment
边也
for
很多
unity,
中国人，
especially when she
就
won't
是因
even
为台积
concede
电要过
and
去
give him the
所以
night
这
to
些做
celebrate.
生意的都通通过去
Kellyanne,
发
you were
华
looking
人
at the
都
popular
通通
vote.
往那边聚集
It's
因
still
为
he's still up.
中国人很聪明，
And
他会做生意，买卖房子啊，
finish up.
做房地
And
产。
part of it is because he did run up the
很喜欢做房
totals
地
in
产。
places I was looking
然后
at,
再来
even
就
the
哪里？再来
several
就是
counties in
全美国
Pennsylvania.
中
He's
国
going
人
to
最
win
多
them
的
by
地方，我跟
significant
你讲
double digits, but he won
几
them
百万的
that
中国
much
人
more.
聚集在哪里？
I
聚
think
在
running
美
up
国
the
的西
totals
部
in
啦，
Florida, which was a
哦，就
swing
是什
state
么
not
加
too long
州
ago,
啦，
over
哦这一排，
1.1 million
左边
votes
这
or
一排，
so.
哦，就
Haley,
是
right, your
沿
home
海
state.
靠海这边，一直到西雅图这
And
边，
this
整
is,
排
look,
延伸到
I
加拿
think
大
that when the
这一整
Democrats
排
take a look at
全
this
部他妈都
candidacy,
中国人在
it's
住
not
的
going
地
to be
方
that she
啊，
had too much
包含
time,
房地
not
产都
enough
中国人
time.
在炒
She's
啦。
just a flawed candidate. She doesn't speak
简
well.
单
She
说，
doesn't work
简
hard.
单
I'm not
说
being
啦
mean or
哦，
partisan.
这些
I
西
don't
部
know
这
why
几
the
个州
country
啊，
would have
如果中
rewarded
国人
this
有心要
candidate
出来选
with
哦，
the
说不
big
定都真
job.
他妈可以
When
选一
they
个州
could,
长
when
出
she
来。
couldn't make the case
哦
what she
所
does
以
as vice
不要小看
president
中国
that
人的力量
affects
啊，
our
中国在美
lives
国
in
也
a
是几百万的
positive
人。
way. She was given that opportunity. I personally
这
like
就
to
我
thank the
之
women
前
of The
常
View
说的嘛，
tonight
为什么台湾要想办法去
asking
控
us
制
questions
住
for having her on.
中国人来台湾移
Oprah,
民或者是为什么？因为
we
就是
see
怕
you,
这种事发生。
and so on and
当
so forth.
中
People
国
who
人
thought they were
他
doing her a
移民的
favor
数量够多
because
的
they
时
made
候，
something,
他
they
就
made her
足
something
以
she's
造
not.
成当
It's
地
the
的选
opposite
举
for
的问
Trump.
题啊。
They make him
不
something
要
he's
说了，
not.
台湾光
Take that
光那
one
些
word, take that
想要当
one
中国人的，
line,
就
take
对
that
台湾的
cherry
政治
pick
造
this,
成
that,
多
the
大
other.
影响？
詹姆
包含
斯，请问凯撒电
中
浆
国籍的
活化水，它会伤手吗？
民众党的立委啊，不分区啊，都
I
可
go
能要
back.
变
Does
成
everybody remember
台湾
5
国
years
会的
ago?
立
So
委啊。
Laurel and Yanni, or what
民
color
众党要
dress?
选这
You
些
hear
中国的
Laurel
配偶
and
啊
Yanni, you see a blue dress,
而且
I
还没
see
有
a
放
yellow
弃中
dress.
国籍哦。
We were all looking at the same thing.
哎，
That's the way Donald Trump is in this country.
然后让
There
他
are
进
people
去
who look
台湾
exactly the same
国
person,
会当立
and
委
they，see two different
然后这些
visits.
指
I think
标
it's
哈，
time that
这
we
些
try
指
to see
标
one.
哈，
Look, I don't
可
know
以
who
成
said it
为
earlier.
以后
I'm
这
a
些
little
立委
worried
在
about
中国
the reaction of the Democrats and the
讲一些
common
有的
people
没有
here.
的
I'm
指
very
标
worried. I think that there are a
他说
lot
啊，
of
那我们共
unhinged
产党也
people
是
across
中
the
国人也
political
是在
spectrum.
台湾
And
的
we
国会
give
当立委啊，
we gave very
真是有
little
够垃圾的。
quarter to how many anti-Kamala voters are
台
out
湾
there.
不
I
用
don't
独
want to
立
hear the
啦，
words
台湾一
racism
直
and
是个国
sexism.
家啦，
It's
台湾有
eyesight
没有
and
独立，
hearing.
你中
We
国人
were
很简
listening
单，
and
去
watching
机
her.
场买一张机
And
票
I
飞
and
台
I'm
北
very
就知
worried
道了
that
嘛。
we've not
难道
talked a
你
lot
穷到连
about
机票都买
how
不起？
violent people
如
are,
果
may
台
be
湾是
and
中国
angry
的
because
领
she
土，
lost.
那
I'm
你
afraid of
从
that.
中国
I
的
mean,
任
I
何一个
can
城
just
市
imagine
飞
thinking
到哈
about
尔
the
滨，
view.
飞到拉
And
萨，
a week
飞
or
到
so
海南
ago,
岛，飞到广州，
they were
跟
saying,
飞
you
到
know,
中
what is
这个
wrong
中
with
国
someone
台
who
湾
would vote
应
for
该都
him?
一样的嘛，机票买就飞过去
Joe
啊，
Scarborough saying,
对
you
不对？
know,
所以
we
你
weren't
到机
raised
场
like
去买
this. Who
机票，
raised these
你就飞
people?
台北， 你
So
就
I
飞
can
看
only
看嘛
imagine。what tomorrow is
你一
going to
飞
look like.
就知道台湾是
You
不
know, I
是
will
个
say
国
when
家
we
了，连
talk
这个都
about
不
the
知道
view,
吗？
you know, what comes to
对不对？
mind
你
is
去
you
任
mentioned
何
the
个国
carnage
家
speech
都
that
需
President
要
Trump gave
签
at his
证，
inauguration.
对不
And
对？
my mind automatically
你
went to the
来台
unity
湾这个
speech
领
that
土，
Biden
到底要不
gave.
要台
He
湾签
mentioned
证呢？
unity
要不要台湾
a
发
half
许
dozen
可给你？
times. But when you
对
think
不对？
about what we
哎，
got over 4
有趣
years,
哦，
there was the garbage
中
comment that
国的
didn't
政府
come
可能
in
允许你去
isolation.
哦，
There
但
were
是
all kinds
你还是要台湾的同意哦。那不就跟你去日本一样吗？中国允许你去日本，但是日本不见得允许你去你从中国来啊。哎呀，那你说日本到底是不是中国的一个省？对不对？哦，那你就可以试看看嘛。机票买了，然后到机场飞台北，哦，不然飞高雄，哎也可以，哦，反正都有直飞航班嘛，就飞。啊，飞了，如果你被挡了，那你就问啊，你们就是中国的一个省啊，为什么不能去？对不对？你这个航空公司，你这个地勤人员是不是支持台独？对不对？这警察是不是支持台独？为什么不让我入境？我是中国人，我有红色的护照，我有这个红本本，到哪里都可以入境的，包含你台湾是我中国的一个省，中国的领土，你就拿那个央视的这个外交部的影片嘛，对不对？外交部应该很多段了，就把影片放在手机秀给大家。台湾是中国的一个领土，哎，是中国的一个省，没有主权。中国人应该可以自由进出啊，为什么不行？就这样嘛。笨啊，我觉得中国人真的很笨。好了啦，惨了啦啊！来，我跟你讲啦，川普有什么政策啊？川普是反移民的，啊，川普反移民的，所以他上来之后呢，美墨边界要再延长。现在盖的那些铁栅栏是川普盖的，不是拜登盖的，是川普时代的政策，花钱的盖的。然后他这个总线呢，就利用那个盖到最边边的，那就从那最边边溜进去。
Treasury Secretary, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense.
还要延伸所有的这个铁栅栏的长度。你还觉得其实是有效的，只是
And sometimes,
偷渡
like
客
you
会
were
从
saying
边
that
边钻
the
进来，
Democratic
所
Party
以他
is
只能
quite
不
old
得
right
已
now. There's
这一次会
not
再
a
加
great
进。
bench, although there are
然后
some.
在
And
走线
especially,
进
but
来
when
美
you take
国的呢，
governors out
他
of
现在要采
states, then
用
you leave a hole, and then
踢
you have
回去
to
的政策
build
了。
up that bench
也
back
就
up.
是
But the
说，
Republican bench is pretty strong right now.
如
There you
果
see Doug
数
Burgum
量够
and
多，他就
Vivek
把你送回中
Ramaswamy,
国，中国
Steve
主权
Wynn,
客
and his lovely
他
wife
不管你什么
Andrea.
理由啊，就哦，我是爱美国的，我
People
是
are
被中国通
are
缉的，
there
那现在不
waiting
管
for
了
the
啦。
former president.
中
Britt
现
would
在
like
拜
to
登
know
意思
where
就是
he
说
is.
不让你来，
Can we
你来
can
就
we
影
say
响到
tonight,
美国的
though,
就业率嘛，对不
Harold,
对？
that the
你
melting
抢了那
pot still
些
works?
比
That
较穷的人的
Hispanics,
工作嘛，因
Black
为中国人就
Americans,
比你
working class
用更
Americans,
低的劳工的价格
standing
打黑
up,
工嘛，
asking what
所
their
以他美国就
government
是
is going to
有
do,
劳动保
asking
护，
their
所以
government
我
to
就
see
不让你打
them
黑工，
and their
那要把这些
concerns,
打黑工的
that
全
it
部踢出去。
works, that this is
那你说
American
也会有中南美
democracy
洲的
in
偷
our
渡客啊，
republic.
不管了，中南美洲的好处理。其实中南
I
美洲人
think
就把它
as
踢
we
回
get
墨西哥
a
就好
final
了。
account of the numbers
然
and
后
the
中国他
coalition
现
that
在考虑是不是
President Trump won with this time,
整
I
飞机
think
整
it
飞
will
机
be
把你送
one
回
that
去啊？
will be for the
其
history
实我觉
books.
得这个很简单的，
President Bush,
这
I
个只
think,
要
got
中
40+%
美
of the
国去
Hispanic
要
vote.
求
George Bush, W.
去
Bush,
要求
and it looks like President, at least the
中国
preliminary
飞美
numbers
国的
suggest
航班
that.
中国
But
飞美
as
国的
much
航
as we
班
talk about the unconventional aspect of
必
this,
须
this
要
was
在24
conventional
小时
also.
之前
People
提
believed
出
him.
航
He
班
resonated
的
with
实际的
voters. He
定位数
resonated with communities, rural
如果有空的
communities, urban
就
communities,
必须
suburban
把
communities
中
across
国
the
的偷
country.
渡客运回去。
And I
如果你
congratulate
不
him
配
tonight.
合，
I didn't
我就
want him
点
to
你的
win,
航
but
班
I congratulate him on his
我就
victory.
点你的航班。也就是
And
说，
wish
你
him
今天
the best for my
中国航
country.
空公司要来
And
飞
I
美
can only
国
hope，
你
that
必
the
须要配
concerns
合
are articulated
运
by
载
my
偷渡
friend,
客
my
回
dear
去
friend
嘛，
Kellyanne,
这很简单嘛，这
that
个
they're
其
not
实只要下个
realized.
命
I
令就
hope
可以
that
了。
my party
对
and my
，24小
friends,
时
and for
之
that
内，
matter,
对不对？
Republicans alike, that we're all
必须
able.
要公
Once
布
we
你
get
的
past
航
the
班表，
moment here, the
我
24
就可以
hours of
从最
excitement
接
and joy
近最接近的
and
地方
celebration
去
to
安
understand that
排
what we're really
这些所谓的
celebrating
偷
is the
渡客
greatest
让你运回
experiment
去嘛。
to
而且这个
have
东西
ever
可以
come to
做一个
existence.
滞
We'll
留
celebrate
滞留所
250 years
就
of
是
its
说
own
我今天
existence in
把中国的
2026. So
这个偷渡客
those are
集
my
中
thoughts,
在这个
I'm struck by
机场附
the
近盖一个
issue
收纳
that,
的地方
of abortion
就
because it
盖一
was
个
talked about
营区
so
把你
much, and
全部
it
关在里
was
面。
presented as if, you
然后
know,
飞
you're a
机每个
woman
航班
and you
只
are
要
not
回中
going
国的
to
有空
support
位，
her, then you,
我就把你
you
丢
know,
上去
hate all women. They said that
一班一班载回
husbands,
去嘛。
you know, were
靠手
hateful
铐啊什
towards
么
their
的，套头
wives
套
and
都没
women in
关
their
系嘛，
lives
反正
if
就
they
是你中
didn't
国人嘛，带
support
回
this
去嘛。
candidate. And I
这
think
个
it
非常
just
简单
goes
呐
to show
那
that
中南美
kind
洲的
of,
很
you
简单
know,
啊，就丢回墨西
manipulating,
哥，
it
就成为
doesn't
墨西哥人。
always, it doesn't win.
你
And
不要再来走线了，
narrowcasting,
这就很简单，
narrowcasting
这
us based
这
on
非
our
常简
gender.
单。
I think Kamala
那再来
Harris
呢，现在
was
中国
talking
跟
to
美
us
国
from
之
the
间
waist
就是
down,
有这
and I
个
think
所谓的
Donald Trump
像
was
比亚
talking
迪
to us from the waist up
他
as well.
想要
That's
搞
where
成
my
墨西
eyes,
哥比
my
亚迪，
ears, my
然后
heart,
卖
my
给中
brain,
国
and。my big mouth are. So,
很简单啊
I mean,
中
you
国
got to
品
talk
牌
to the
中国
woman
厂
in
商
full.
哦
It's
然
as
后
if
再
she doesn't
查
know
你
anything
的
about the economy,
产
or she
品零
doesn't
件
care
来源
about what's
很简
going on
单，
in
我就
Ukraine
进
or
你一台
Israel
车
with
进来。
Iran, or
你说要
can't
进
do
美
the
国的
math
商
on
品，
her
尤其
grocery bill.
是
It's
成
an
品
insult. Of course, people
所有的
care,
产品就
but
是
we care
说
about many
完成品
things.
啊。
Just as we are not
你要
monolithic
先
in life, we're
完
not
成品
monolithic
受检
thinkers
验，检验完
politically.
我要
But you know,
抽
Martha,
验你
something
的
else
产
happened.
品有
They
没
put
有
these ballot initiatives on to try to gin up
中
turnout
国的
for
零
the
件
Democrat. And they did
中国
that,
的
and
零
it
件。
kind of backfired. Look at this
那你
popular
可以定一个
vote.
标准嘛，因为
And
其实
it
这个已经有
backfired.
过了
The
啦，
other
这个
thing
其
is,
实已
if
经有
you've
做
got
过了，就
10
是
abortion
针对
ballot
那些车
initiatives,
子哈。
you can vote
那你可以扩
your
及
conscience
啊，
on
扩及
abortion,
到
and you can vote
多少
separately
的
or
成品
similarly
半
for
成品。
president. The presidential race was
由
not a
中国直
proxy
接
for
邮
your
寄的
position
不准进，
on
不然
abortion.
就课重税。
By the
也
way,
就是说，
somebody
你
sent
今
me
天
statistics.
买的人
Over $500 million
买的人
spent
你要
on
领
ads
货，
about
你要
abortion.
另外交一笔
$500
税啊。
million in this
就是
country.
说
Out
我
of the 16
从
billion Brett
中
is
国
talking
的
about,
某涛、
$37 million
某
for
区
pro-lifers.
啊
The rest
某
was the
梯
pro-choicers. I
去
mean, it's
进
just
衣服，
insane amount of money.
那
So
这些
we've
东
spent a
西
lot
是
of
直
time
接
talking
从
about
中国出
markets
货的，或者
tonight
是
and
从
the betting markets.
这些疑
Trey,
似
at
中
this
国厂商
point,
出货
it's
的
at about
我可以
66%
在
of
美
Republicans
国的邮
hold
政
on
局
to
或
the
者是
House
物流，我在
as
领
they're
入海关
ticking
的时
down
候，
the
这个部
possibilities, and
分
they look at these coattails with
我
not
不
only
用
the
管里面
popular
东西多少
vote,
钱的，
but
我
what
就直
could
接先
be
扣个5
and
美金
is
就对
shaping
了
up。to be an electoral
你懂我意思
college
吗？
landslide.
也就是
Should
说，
he
你今天
control the
只要
White
从这些
House, the
进来的
Senate,
地
and the
方，
House,
你就是会多5
like
美
he did
啊
at the！beginning
不要
of
怀疑，不然就不要领
2016?
了。
The
哦，
possibilities open to a lot of
安内利
things.
的博斗
Yeah, I
利用你
was
的
there
低
in
价策略去
2016,
打压美
and
国境内
we
的
had everything
合
but
法通
an
关的衣
agenda.
服，或者
That
是
mistake
鞋
will
子
not be made this
我
time.
今天不是
He
说
will deal
你
with the
不能入
border.
口
He
进口，
will
我
deal
今天
with
讲的是
tax is
你
coming
要
up.
经
He
由
will.
正确的管道
There
去
is a
申请
plan
进
being
口，
formulated by
申
Mike
请缴
Johnson
纳
right
税。
now, and
那你
Jonathan
透过
or
网络
John
这些
Cornyn or
物流
whoever
购物
becomes
的
the majority
很
leader.
多问
The
题的，
mistakes
我
of
就可以先
2016,
课
I
税
think
啊，
we were
对不对？
surprised that he
你一
won.
件
I'm
衣
not
服你
saying
要
he was
你要卖到很
surprised, but
便宜，
others
那很
were
简单嘛，
surprised.
我就
The
先
other thing I
扣个
will
5美嘛，
remind you, Brett, when he
或者10
won in
美金嘛。
2016, do you
对
recall what?
我海关就直接就扣起来啊。那你厂商、物流商要来领货，就是要结清啊。你不结清，我就不让你领货啊，这么简单，对不对？以前不是啊，以前通关通了就可以过了啊。不要，你又要交所谓的境外税金，境外特定区域的加课税金嘛。好，你不要说啊，我要很麻烦呐，还要一个一个不用，那反正他不报，你就是直接课了。哦，这样你就可以直接收钱嘛。哦，如果你觉得你可以配合，哦，负担得起，哦，那你就那个嘛，你就支付嘛，反正你喜欢中国的衣服。你喜欢有毒的染剂，你喜欢有毒的玩具，你觉得它便宜，那你多付个$5又怎么样呢？对不对？多付个$5、$10，对美国来说也是增加税收啊。好，然后再来就是这些中国走私商，包含这些中国的学生，到时候一定就是踢回去。
Not getting much money or
现在不
attention.
用说了，已经在做了哈。
But he's a
川普上来，
competent
你们都惨
candidate.
了哈。
Once again, we have.
By the way, there's Sam Brown right there, 48.1
然后你们想说，中国的留学生来到台湾，害台湾的大学，很少会倒。美国不是也一样吗？对不对？美国也是要开始禁你们这些所谓的美国的中国来美国读书。我跟你讲啊，在美国的所有的中国的这些统战单位，我看都要倒。包含那些什么同乡会啊，什么孔子学院的啊，被抓赛啊，我跟你讲。
Ladies and gentlemen，
来，川普来了啊
！Welcome President-elect Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and the Trump family, accompanied by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, along with friends and campaign staff. And
我来了，这是他说党那边过程哈，是本周一的东党，共和党在党中，然后。闹笑，他是像大钱多的像你中国这样讲，中国在中国政府内所以他们都很反，所以想反中后我同意。
Thank you very much. Wow. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved them. It is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great.
我们先攒攒粮啊，然后呢就去打这个徐州。诶，马超来投降，来。
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And, winning the popular vote was very nice. Very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room, with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life, when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's great. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races, and I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them, and sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp, and you know the enemy camp is certain networks, and a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay, which one, CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks like, he's still like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words.
Wow. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country, and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now, we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden. Come here, Chris. Come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background. Come here, Susie.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate. And he's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team, and, of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. Look at her, she's shot. I've never seen her be shot before. Susie. They're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And, but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon could do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And because, especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space-age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash, and then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and I put it straight. And it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it. And just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No, nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon, that's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated, the water. This was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, and I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's fantastic golfer, slightly longer than me. Hits the ball a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh, he was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Oh, look at him. He's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have Amanda White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC and came to me, do you mind if I use your... Nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped him out a little bit, and I went, and they said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters, and they really go at it, and it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words, because people love to hear from him. Dana,
please. Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, busting with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
That is a piece of work. No, he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory like really, probably like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, with so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control. Group of people. These are hard-working people. These are fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in, and he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, Go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight. When you think, I mean, I was looking at it, I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We're going to try. We have to try. And it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term when we became more and more successful. People started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it, because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
他国家进口美，但是他就是自己不挖煤了，但是他是有这个需求啊，但他就是跟国外买，为什么？他比如说我这样的话，国内就比较不会为煤业去开矿破坏环境啊，污染环境，但实际上是有这个需求。那钢铁业也是，我就不开矿，不开本身矿，可能我就减产到10%，然后我其他的90%都是国外买。就美国就这样子，像西湖也是，石油也是，美国本身可能也有像石油，有个够用。可是问题是，开发出来就变成商品嘛，我就可以卖钱了。但是问题是，这个过程会有很多的人事成本的支出跟污染的损耗。那这些环保意识、环保政党他就反对，所以他就说那我们就跟国外买。但跟国外买这个缺点，可能是控制在其他国家手里面，比如说到家总统啊，甚至要跟国买。那其实这些东西你可以自己发展开矿。那现在说，川普的意思就是美国要闭关，然后闭关是把进口给减少。好，国内的
摩尔空间，还你居家好空间。
振兴本人，然后呢？美国这些蓝领才有工作，再有工作的人，好，那就这样子啊，川普大胜，我要惨了哦，港股已经崩掉了，现在是明天了，好，那就这样子，我破坏了，好，祝川普胜选啊！